My honeybee. How did it come to this? Why do I blubber like a child whilst writing this? I lock the door to my room and I refuse to see anyone. I have not even touched food in about 3 days. I have even taken to drink once again. Every promise I make to be sober is always in vain, it seems. In my youth, I wanted to be a historian, as you know. I was fascinated by how events were formed, the causes and consequences of decisions that impacted millions across the world en masse. I drew charts chronicling the Punic Wars, giving every fibre of my being in my attempt to make this mess we call history into something tangible. It is all a delusion. None of it makes any sense, and any patterns present are devoid of meaning outside of what the imagination can draft. For the first time in years, I took up my stencil and began to draft a timeline to trace the catalyst for this event. Recalling our past conversations about our ancestors, I even went as far back as them in order to decipher the mystery of who we are and why we have chosen this path. I can organize it, but I cannot explain it. In the same vein, I could never explain fully why Hannibal Barca felt that risking his life and that of his army over the Alps was worth the destruction of Rome. Saying that he made a promise to his father or that he despised Rome are not satisfying explanations. Remarkable or not, he was a human being. And if there is one thing that many philosophers and historians can agree upon, it is that human beings are very complex, irrational, and multifaceted. It plants the seeds of doubt as to whether I wasted all that precious time trying to scratch the surface of my fellow man. Every postulation, regardless of evidence, is a leap of faith in the dark. A roll of the dice whilst crossing the fingers that you will be correct in your faith. I fail to fathom why you attempted to destroy me, if that was your intention. But I no longer care. Calpurnia warns that I shall be sealing my fate by offering you the olive branch. If that is what the gods have ordained for me, then so be it. You are a viper. You will inject venom into my blood that will deplete any warmth in my body. Yet you are so graceful, beautiful in your slither, majestic in your bite. Like the Egyptian witch, your poison to my bosom shall release me from the nonsense of existence. I think I understand why Hannibal lost, and Scipio won. Never in our history has Rome come so close to utter destruction. Never since have we deserved to. It was that realization that drove us to victory, the epiphany that though our world will one day crumble, we still have a plethora of life to give until that inevitable day comes. Carthage was wiped from the face of the earth, its people enslaved and its treasure looted, but they put up a damn good fight. They refused to allow what they adored to be destroyed, even when fate stared them down. I want to fight for you again. I do not want to throw away my treasure, even if it will end in nothing but eradication. I wish to put my life on the line in your name. I want your ethanol, Your blood carries it through your veins as high-value cargo to be processed at the heart and distributed along the somatic highways, finally delivered to the glimmer of your vista or the flush of fire that permeates your veneer. A bite of the lips puts me under lock and key. I waste away in the tower awaiting execution. A lethal injection of your ethanol. It is my hope and the hope of the state of you that I shall be reborn as a worthy member of the society of you. Rehabilitate me. Enroll me in your labours. I won't shy away from your taxes. Draft me, march me up and down the hill, send me out to the field under your command only. I shall merrily sing the national anthem of you as I vanquish the enemy. When I am inevitably wounded there, you shall be your ethanol, weaving me into a web where I am safe, an incubator shielded against the world of me.
Plus, have you seen this nonsense? I stole it from his study while he was flat out drunk. Calpurnia warned us that he would do this, but I never believed that he would droop so low. Maybe due to the wine. Perhaps because he is being a fool. Either way, he doesn't know what he is saying. The witch has to go. She cannot be allowed an audience with him. She will twist words and wrap her measly little finger around him, as she always does, and then you and I get the chop. Do not act as it would be otherwise. We have been trying to get rid of her for years, and we have given her the perfect excuse to do away with us. Claudius is still drowning his sorrows, so get him to give you his signature. Should be easy enough in his state. Use his signature on an execution warrant and give it to the prefect. No ifs or buts. Kill the bitch. P.S. I will burn his letter, and you need to burn this one once you've read it.
My mouse. My sweet little Claudius. We have now reached the crossroads. I do not know what I hope to achieve with this final letter. My mother is ranting and raving behind me, trying to make me come up with a plan. Perhaps there is a lover who can rescue me, or an appeal I can make directly to you. She is a fool. She cannot comprehend the notion that one must recognize when it is time to accept the consequences of our actions. That if you dig a hole, expect to be buried in it. I do not expect mercy from you, Claudius. I imagine you wish to see me drown in the Styx. Truth be told, I cannot explain why I did what I did. At least not to an adequate degree of comprehension. I have heard stories of those who have perished in the freezing cold because they removed all their clothing. Before succumbing to the cold, they complained that their body temperature was as hot as a house fire. It eludes all apprehension, yet I understand completely. When Silius proposed to me, it was as if a bubble had formed around my body. My soul floated away, and all I could do was watch my body make decisions for me. In my haste to cool down, I removed my clothing and froze to death instead. It was as you once said to me, when you offered me the choice of allowing the Hound of Hades to chew me up alive or to fight back. It seems in my shock that such a creature could exist, I became a demon's meal. I was not tricked by him, nor did I suffer a spout of insanity. I was fully aware of my actions, but lost all control over them. It is in my blood to destroy, as it is for all our kin, destined to have what we want, but not what we need. I needed you, and I could not change myself for you, and no, I would not do so even if given another chance at life again. I wanted the impossible, to have my cake and be stuffed with it too. To commit bigamy with a man I could care less for, because why should I not? How must it feel? Where will this plunge take me? I fell in love with the moon while I lectured you to avoid the same. We are like reflections in the mirror, you and I. Neither of us can change our natures, though we tell each other to do so. Once, when we were younger, and our love was blossoming, you often had trouble reading me. You used to exclaim about how you could never tell whether I was serious in my words and deeds, or if I just did it to rile you up. The truth is that I know no more than you. I am as much of a mystery to myself than to those I am connected to. Like Arachne, created by Minerva with the express purpose to weave webs for eternity. Why? She just does. Without it, she may as well not exist in the first place. I have been created by Minerva to spin my web and catch whoever has the misfortune to become trapped in it. You were my most valuable catch, my little mouse. I wanted to keep you cocooned tight and cuddle you to my bosom. I was hungry. My body demanded blood, but I refused to feed upon you. You were special, and no one else could have you. Because if I feasted upon you, then there would be no more Claudiuses in this dilapidated world. Though I may tease him, though I betray him, there is no one quite like my Claudius. The only one who could love a monster. The only one who could show this girl that she meant something, who cherished the evil as well as the good. At least for a little while. Longer than any reasonable mortal would. Thank you, Claudius. You may not realize it, but you have given me the greatest gift imaginable. You freed me. I will never forget that. As Charon accepts my coin for the ferry, I will be reluctant to say goodbye. I refuse to drink the waters of the Lethe. My memories with you are worth the future torment. Look at me. Rather a reverse from what you're used to, isn't it? I'm blabbering, and I think I feel a tingle of fear, if ever so slight. The Praetorians have arrived, brandishing a death warrant signed in your name. They offered me a dagger and the chance to gut myself. They said they wouldn't want to ruin my pretty little head. I imagine the alternative is to be beheaded. Here it is, at last. The curtain call to my life. I could act the noble suicide with the audience giving a whimsical tear, leaving the theatre in catharsis. But I rather prefer to go out fighting. I was made to destroy, right? Might as well live up to my purpose one last time. Do you believe that how a mortal dies determines where in Hades they will reside? If it is true, then perhaps I will end up in Elysium, and when you pass as the conqueror of Britain, you will be sat in my lap in the fields. The warm summer wind brings the blush back to our morbid faces once again. Unlike Dido, I will embrace you and drag you away to share my web with me for eternity. My sweet Claudius, this life was never meant for us. The next one shows more promise. Farewell, my little mouse.
My Robin. Don't think I didn't notice that look you gave me at the dinner table, you tease. You know it gets me all flustered when you bite your tongue, and in front of Mama to boot. Naughty, naughty. It is ferociously difficult to focus on the music when you watch from afar. You may think you are a stealthy one, but you could not conduct espionage to save your life. You have been invading my dreams. The stupor symphony I construct transforms into that beguiling voice of yours. Ripples tingle my ears as I feel your lips nibble upon them. Your face has transplanted the stoic expressions of Venus and Diana in the streets. The calf I slaughter in your name. Oh, will you rescue me from this torment you spin for me? We should know better. At best, we are distant second cousins. At worst, practically brother and sister. Though, does not Jupiter share a marital bond with his sister Juno? Does he not relish her flesh as much of those of the countless mortal victims of his? Oh, how I wish to take a bite of that forbidden fruit of yours. You take after your mother in your resplendence. I never met her, but I have seen countless pictures, and my jaw has dropped to the floor when I compare you both side by side. Beauty is nothing without something more skin deep, however, but you have that in spades. My friends often espouse the gentrified view that women are foolish creatures only fit enough for breeding, etc., etc. What a bore! I like a woman with wit. A woman sharp enough to cut my throat. If you wanted, you could do just that. I won't allow you to. I may be a poet, but I love a good fight as well. I dare you. Bite me, and I shall gladly bite you back. Your father seems rather serious about appointing me his heir. He is not thinking straight, but I won't complain. Though I believe he finally suspects that Britannicus was never of his blood to begin with. His brain has become mush through all that wine. It is rather disgraceful. One must know the right place and time for intoxication, and must certainly never do it alone. I suspect he regrets his decision regarding your mother. Such is life. Everyone cheers him on to anoint me as heir. They practically kiss my feet in joy at the prospect. I satisfy their appetites with victuals and carnal pleasure. I could massacre their families and take their daughters' virginity, and they would still adore me. As long as the coin flows and the blood in the arena trickles. Truth be told, my dear, I have not much else of an idea on how to run this cesspit of an empire. I will probably slice it open just to see if it sheds a tear. I do this with cats from time to time. If I can't get a cat, then maybe a mouse. I'll gut them and watch them slowly bleed to death. Watch the life painfully fleeting away, and that pitiful little face staring back at me, begging for a quick end. It is one of the most beautiful sights a mortal can behold. It is the ultimate poem to watch creatures writhe in pain. I cry with them. I grab their cheeks and cuddle them as pain devours them. I want to see if Rome will react in the same way. Will it look upon me with melancholy eyes? Will I weep with it as I reap the fruits of my creation out of destruction? The prospect is certainly an exciting one. One I wish to share with you, my love, Octavia. If all you want is happiness, say no. If you want to watch the world burn with me, say yes. All my love, Nero. And so concludes our tale of seduction, strife, and sweet struggle. Claudius married Agrippina and made Nero his heir, much to the chagrin to Britannicus. Agrippina has been charged with assassinating Claudius with poison mushrooms, according to the ancient historian Tacitus. I do not know if Octavia took anything from her mother's correspondence. I cannot confirm if she tried, as did her father, to break her family's curse. I can only confirm that she failed. For on the 8th of June AD 62, she was brutally murdered at the order of Nero. He had taken another woman as his wife, and seemed to have grown tired with Octavia. The curse was not only still going strong, but it was also as deranged as ever. That being said, I believe there is something that we can take from these letters. History is one great work of art, designed with the express purpose of teaching us, guiding us, crafting us into better people for the world of tomorrow. I am sure that noble Claudius would have agreed. It is our duty to provide a legacy, a worthy inheritance for posterity. I believe I have achieved my legacy with this translation of an until now lost piece of history. I could not have achieved this without the support of all of you, those listeners who have stood by me even during my days in Cambridge, who followed me as a liberator of knowledge, a champion of truth. To all of you, thank you. Now keep your eyes peeled. This is far from the last offering to posterity I shall give. Expect more marvellous wonders of our furthest past. I do not know how close the authorities are to my super-secret location, but I fear that I may have to relocate rather than gamble and find out. I promise more episodes of this podcast will come once I have found a safe new location. Until that day comes, my delightful nymphs and satyrs, au revoir and ave.